Hello everybody, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I'm going to do a little video this morning I think you'll find real interesting. I'm going to name it the Windows System Event Log. And what we're looking at is a log entry that happened on the night of the murder attempt. It was January 29th, 2012. This is found on my computer. I'm going to show you here in a minute in the event viewer. And it's very important because it told me what was happening. I've got a little write-up about it, but I want to show you, here's the security ID, the name, and it gives me the timestamp, at 3:15 a.m. in the morning, and it tells me it was a user-initiated log off. Okay, so we know it wasn't done, by the Windows or by the system. It was the user that had done it. Somebody here at 3:15 a.m. in the morning manually rebooted my computer, and then the question is, why did they do that? Okay. I've got a little write up here. I'll read just not very long, and I think you'll find this real interesting. I said, prior to transferring to Midland to become the next unsuspecting victim of this murderous crime ring, I took care of a computer network. In fact, I'm MCSE, or Microsoft Certified System Engineer. These skills have helped me in my investigation of what happened on the night that I was ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut in a premeditated capital attempted murder. I was home minding my own business. These criminals loaded their guns, came to my home, cut my phone lines, and shot me by surprise. These are cold-blooded killers, no doubt about it. After I had been reporting repeated burglaries at my house at the time. After I returned from the hospital, I searched the Windows System event log on my computer, which was running the security camera in my bedroom, and I found this log entry at 3:15 a.m., which showed that a manual reboot happened. So why would police take time out to reboot my computer while they were covering up this capital crime? I believe the reason was they saw the camera attached to my computer and they mistakenly thought they could stop it from working with a reboot. What they didn't know was that I had this camera set to run as a service, which means that Reboot started it working. This is what gave me the pictures of the police in my home. So it was taking pictures and they didn't know it. They had actually thought they had disabled it. In 2013, the police report for this night was subpoenaed, but they illegally withheld it, so I didn't know one existed. They never planned on anybody finding out they were in my home and staging the crime scene of this failed murder. Okay. In 2019, I finally got a copy of that police report, and the timestamps on it proved that a group of police were under my home on the night that I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home. It looks like a group of police tried to murder me inside my home, which is why they were covertly inside my home staging the crime scene. You can see how them pictures really messed them up. This log file and camera messed up their evil plans. This is another miracle that has happened. Praise God. Okay. And then I went on here and I said, pro tip. Okay, here's your pro tip. To open Windows Event Viewer on your Windows 10 computer, then press the Windows key and R, and that'll open your run dialog box. Looks like that. Okay. And then you'll type in there event vwr.msc, and really you can leave the end of it off, just event vwr, and I've already got it typed. Okay. And then you hit OK. Okay, and there we go. There's the Windows Event Viewer. So when I returned from the hospital, I wanted to see what happened, while I was gone on my computer. And I just go over here and I go to the Windows logs, and like I said, this is what a tech would do, right? And there's the system, and it tells me when it started, when it stopped, what was going on, all this technical data. That's how I found out the police had manually tried to reboot my computer at 3:15 a.m. That's important because it's timestamped. Okay, a few minutes after that is when I started seeing pictures of police inside my bedroom staging the crime scene. Of course, I didn't have a police report. I'm going to show you them pictures, but like I said, it was taking pictures and they didn't know it. Okay, I'm going to start a little bit earlier than that, though, is on my front security cameras. Okay, because they were successfully disabled. Okay. This video came from my front security cameras, and it shows me crawling out at 10:42 p.m. after being ambushed and shot by somebody under my home. The reason that I didn't call for help was because they had cut my phone lines before shooting me by surprise. Crawling out was my only chance of surviving. It's a miracle that I'm alive, and this was going to be a premeditated, cold-blooded murder. I mean, it was 100% miracle that I survived. They had planned my murder in advance, no doubt about it. At 11:01 p.m., Martin County Sheriff John Woodward and the late Midland County Deputy Mike Naylor are seen arriving. They had not been dispatched, and their names were illegally omitted from the long withheld police report. It took 6 years and a $2,000 reward before they were identified. Obviously, they were also under my home when I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home, and that's how come they showed up in front. They were under my home when I got shot, and then they drove around front is what happened, of course. That's obvious. At 11:22 p.m., they had successfully disabled these front cameras, so any entry or exit from my home after this time was not recorded. Okay, and that's why the timestamps on the security camera on the police report were so important, because the police that arrived before this time told me that they didn't come in from the door. They didn't, they come in from the underground trap door entrance. Here's this little video here, and I'm gonna try to skip through. It's not long. It's a real short 1-minute video. So. And it's an older video. Okay, there's me crawling out. Okay. What's to see the headlights go on my car? Ain't that interesting? I think somebody was sitting in my car. Okay, and all that I read to you. See, they were secret for 6 years, And it's just a bizarre. Martin County Sheriff, a sheriff from a whole nother county, shows up at my front door minutes after a premeditated murder attempt. Okay, so here they are arriving. Okay, and this is at 11:01, 19 minutes after I crawled out, not dispatched, name missing from the police report. There's the second one. So that's Woodward and Naylor right there. But I didn't know that for 6 years. They were secret. Okay. There they are right there. Okay, Woodward and Naylor. And, and a lot of people know Woodward, I think, now is a convicted felon, and Naylor died, okay, in line of duty, okay. Here's the pictures in the order they were taken from my bedroom. Okay, so the former secret police are seen in my bedroom starting at 3:36 a.m. The reboot happened at 3:15. That's what I wanted to make the point of the timestamp. Okay, so there's your pictures right here, and that one's easy to tell right here because it's the one with the bleach blonde hair and the bun in her head. That's April Chandler. It's Officer April Chandler. She's been caught lying on police reports, tampering with evidence, and definitely a dirty cop, no doubt about that. It was later found out and I think still a cop too. It was later found out the guy wearing the Midland K-9 police jacket was Chad Simpson, and he was the police officer that was alleged to murder his wife and killed himself in 2014. Okay, so I had recognized in this picture, right? Look, this guy's got a Midland K-9 police jacket on, but I didn't know, I didn't know who it was till 6 years, but in 2014. He went on to murder his wife and kill himself, supposedly, allegedly. Here's your second set of pictures, okay? There's the timestamps. This is at 3:38. Okay. There's another guy here. I call him Glasses. He's wearing glasses. That's what I nicknamed him a long time ago. Okay. This guy's pointing at something. A lot of people have asked, how come these are pictures? And it was just how that camera was configured to take pictures based on motion. It stays drive space is the reason that, that you would ever do that is because, you're just saving a picture file instead of a video file. See this guy right here, he's just having a good old time. Like, ain't nobody going to figure out that we're in this house covering up a premeditated capital attempted murder. We're so smart. We're so smart, we're killing homeowners that are reporting crime. He thinks he's going to report crime. We'll show him. I'm putting words in his mouth, but maybe that's what he was saying, right? Maybe that's what he's laughing about. He thinks that's funny. Man's crippled for life is reporting crime to corrupt police that were involved in the crimes. More of these officers. It was cold that night. There's actually some face pictures in there. You can see that one. These are the pictures of the secret police. These are the ones that I was offering, telling anybody to identify. There's April Chandler again. Okay. Okay, and there once again, April Chandler, and here she is, and she got her hand in the booty bag, and you know, so we know that actually, I'm gonna read that here in a minute, that she's involved with tampering with evidence and stealing evidence actually, and she had put down on a police report that she found my voice recorder. I'm gonna tell that story right here. Okay, Officer April Chandler, the bleached blonde who was caught lying on the police reports and tampering with evidence, she said that she climbed in my truck at the 7-Eleven when it was Rosie that had done that. She stated that she found my voice recorder, which had recorded the burglar alarms going on my attic before I shot, and it was checked into evidence, but the evidence logs showed this was a lie. Okay. She also called me a paranoid schizophrenic on the police reports when I hadn't been diagnosed with this horrific disease, nor do I have it. In fact, I was cleared by mental health at the hospital due to this name smeared. I was a 28-year company man, granddad, homeowner. I come down, led the United Way drive for my company. You know, this home was rigged. They tried to murder me and steal my stuff. And, you know, and then I get my name smeared right here. Oh, he's a paranoid schizophrenic, you know. And that was just an absolute lie she made up. And every police report that gets pulled up with my name on it, April's lie comes up on there, you know, and that's all it is. It's a bold-faced lie to cover up a premeditated, for-profit, capital-attempted murder. She is still a police officer, and there's no telling how many lives she's ruined with this lawlessness, you know. And there it is, you know. I mean, tamper with evidence, lying on police reports, you know. It is just absolute lawlessness is what it is. Okay, and here's the next picture. It says, it looks like Detective Rosie Rodriguez and Officer April Chandler waited for the other police to leave my room before planting my stolen cell phone behind my nightstand that Rosie has seen leaned over. My cell phone had been stolen and my home phone lines had been cut before I was shot by surprise in this premeditated capital attempted murder. That's why, I mean, that was the whole reason that I crawled out, you know, was because I had no communications. My phone line's cut. And this is the picture right here because Rosie has leaned over my nightstand right here beside my bed, and that's where I found my stolen cell phone had been planted. It had been stolen before I was shot, you know. And I believe what they did was waited till everybody left, the other police left the room, and you know, and then they planted that stolen cell phone. And that's made me wonder if them other police were legitimate, if they knew that they were here covering up this premeditated capital attempted murder, if there was an underground entrance here. But you know, on the other hand, they might know that there's $1 million underground home, you know, that was put in for the Bushes, and they were having oil show parties back there, and that's what this premeditated murder attempt was really about. So they might know, they might be a party to this capital crime, you know. But it just looks like, based on the timestamps, because this is the end of the pictures, that they waited for them other police to leave the room and then went and planted my stolen cell phone. And you know, the proof that was absolute convincing proof was when I saw in the police reports that Rosie Rodriguez made a report and said, Buddy said that he crawled out, or his battery was dead on his phone. And I was like, no, I didn't. I didn't say my battery wasn't dead on my phone. I had the cordless phone in my pocket because my cell phone had been stolen. And then I found my cordless phone, you know, the phone lines was dead. It had been cut. You know, that's what had happened. But I never said the battery was dead. It was set on the charger all the time. The only reason I had the cordless phone was because my cell phone had been stolen, you know. She made up that lie about the battery being dead because she knew they had stolen my phone. And here, I believe, you know, that was just proof that she planted that stolen phone right there in that picture, you know. And then here's, I think, the last picture in my room, inside my bedroom that night. Detective Rosie Rodriguez is the one seen holding the camera in the first picture. She climbed in my truck at 7-Eleven minutes after I'd been shot, and then claimed she wasn't there. 2 years later, I found out that she was lifelong friends with my ex-wife that I'd filed divorce on 5 days earlier. And the ex-wife's alleged to be involved in the shooting, you know. But anyway, here's the picture of Detective Rosie Rodriguez holding that camera. And she didn't check in them pictures as evidence till 6 months later, until after I went on Facebook, found these pictures and said, look, she's holding a camera, you know. And all of a sudden she checked them pictures I've never seen. And then here's April Chandler, and she's searching my drawers over here. And, you know, it's interesting, 3 days later, there was a second police entry into my home, which was going to be the only known entry. That was after they staged the crime scene, poured the concrete, and then they got the bomb squad. Buddy's crazy. It's not safe in Buddy's home, but they left out the part that they'd been in my home all this time staging the crime scene. It was a con job, is what it was. And trying to destroy my life with them lies. So they cover up this failed murder is what it was. It's exactly what it was. So I had pictures of police in my home, but I didn't have a police report saying that police were here. This is what caused me to nickname them the secret police and offer a award for their identity. I used to say this was the first known secret police since Nazi Germany. The Gestapo was the secret police of Nazi Germany. In 2018, Empire Private Investigations collected the $2,000 reward money and identified all 11 of them. And that was disability money I saved up. It was incredible, as that was when it was found out. The first one seen arriving, John Woodward, was a sheriff from Martin County, and this is Midland County. So a sheriff from a whole nother county shows up at my front door, first one to arrive. He's now a convicted felon. Okay. It was followed by the late Sheriff Deputy Mike Naylor that died in October 2014 without the public ever being told that he was a secret police. I had a reward offered for him, okay? Some people have wondered if some of them other secret police, maybe Naylor was going to snitch on them, and since they were involved in capital crimes, then they murdered him and blamed, the other guy, Wiggins or whatever. That's a what if out there, but it sure seems reasonable. The other secret police, if you're going to snitch on them, that seems to be motive to murder. I think. Okay. 2 months after Nader died, Chad Simpson was alleged to have murdered his wife and killed himself. So now there's 2 secret police and the policeman's wife dead, all with connections to the murder attempt on my life. And once again, that's what I'm saying is Simpson was going to snitch on them other secret police. That'd be motive to murder them. I recently talked to a nurse, a NICU nurse, because they had 2 babies, that they just loved to death. And Caden and Emery. And who were in the house when this alleged murder-suicide happened, And that nurse was like, it says, as soon as we heard that, she says, I know them. I was there at the hospital when they had them with them babies. There is no way Chad killed Sandra, And that's what she's telling me. That was just in this last week. Okay. This first column here, identified by Empire Private Investigations in 2018. That was the secret police that we saw the pictures of caught on camera. Rosie Rodriguez, April Chandler, Greg Chatwell, Tony Dickey, Marty Barrett. See, Dickey was a lieutenant. Marty Barrett was CSI. Greg Chatwell was a sergeant at the time, Rosie Rodriguez is a detective. Okay, and here's the bottom half here. These 6 names, their names were missing from the long withheld police report. John Woodward, Martin County Sheriff. Mike Naylor, dead. Chad Simpson, dead. Greg Nelson, I don't know nothing about him. Mark Gilliam, I don't know much about him. Michael Glick, and I don't know much about him, but I was told one of these other ones is dead too. Okay. And then here is the police report that I finally got in 2019. And that was what was so amazing, because it showed that 6 of their names, these names were missing from the police report. And that's a crime. They had illegally omitted the names of them officers and from this capital murder attempt. Right off the bat, that's a crime, But nobody's ever gone to jail for all these crimes they've committed, See, the reason these are in color at the top, because they were identified by the PI and their names were on the police report, okay? But and then here on these are the names from the police report. What was important was 5 of them on the police report were time stamped as being at or in my home and not seen arriving on the security cameras. All my other doors were secured with extra locks. That's how I know they entered from the underground trapdoor entrance. And that was Davis, Dickey, Chadwell, Angel, and Hale. Okay, and Tony Dickey, the lieutenant there, he was inside my home at 11:05, and Woodward and Naylor were in front of my home at 11:01, and Dickey ain't seen arriving. This was the second entry into my home. I have a police report for it, okay, and you can see that Dylan Hale's name's there, and so's Rosie Rodriguez. And that was going to be the only known entry. Because they were hiding the police report and they had tried to disable the camera, thought they had disabled the camera. Nobody was ever going to know that they had been in my home planting evidence and staging the crime scene. And so this time on this one police report here, oh, Buddy's crazy. It's nobody could go in the home because it's not safe, because they didn't know they'd been caught on camera inside my home, inside my what they called the unsafe home. Right? It was all bullshit's what it was. It was a lie to cover up this premeditated for-profit capital attempted murder. In 2019, I found out there was a police report for the night of the murder attempt that had been illegally withheld from me, so I didn't know it existed. This report showed that 6 of the 11 police seen on camera had their names illegally omitted from the report, including the 2 that are no longer alive, Naylor and Simpson. Importantly, a timestamp 5 police officers, Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, as in or at my home when they were not seen arriving on the security cameras that saw Woodward and Naylor. Since all of the other windows and doors were secured with extra locks, then this is what proved those police came into my home from a now removed trapdoor entrance, which the ex-wife had already told me about, and from where I'd been ambushed and shot from. It looks like police tried to murder me in my home, which explains why they were here covertly planting evidence and staging the crime scene. It also makes sense that these same police were connected with the suspected murder of the last guy that lived here, Mike Lawhon, who died the week before the 2008 oil show started, and or the young girl at the 2010 oil show party that Angie had told me about. So this was the police report that I got in 2019, 7 years after this murder attempt. And that's what gave me all the information. I found out the names were omitted, and, it was just, these officers were in my home, that's where this information comes from. There was a whole bunch of stuff here, like Matt Davis tried to contact my wife 2 times, my ex-wife, that I'd separated from a few days earlier. I thought that was interesting, because she's alleged to be involved in the murder attempt. In fact, her former boyfriend said that he overheard her talking on the phone with her police friends, planning my murder to steal evidence, And here's where they're at my house. This is Matt Davis and Tony Dickey right here. And, and here it says, no one in the house, inside, and lots of odd things like booby traps. That was Dickey in my house 4 minutes after Woodward and Naylor were seen out front, and they were not seen arriving on the cameras, because remember, the front cameras didn't get disabled till 11:22. Okay, and so that's what the timestamp really messed them up here. It was a sloppy job. They made a lot of mistakes, but I think it all started, because I didn't die. This would have been easy money, right? They were going to get this. The ex-wife would get this home of $650,000, rule my murder an accident, no investigation for capital murder, and it was easy money. All these cops lying together, they got this thing down, and I show in this last picture here, this is how those police got in my home without being seen on camera. This is where the underground parties were held and where a young girl was murdered at in 2010. Okay, one of my main pictures here, I'm showing out of the back. This is Midland Home Depot. You can see where the ditch was cut, where I believe a tunnel was going, and the people going to the oil show party were parking in front of Home Depot, coming through here. And then so that's where the police come through. I believe they parked in front of Home Depot. They come in this tunnel right here, and that's how they got in the underground trap door. I'm shot right here. Somebody under my home shoots me right here. In the backyard, you can see right here, you can see it on Google Maps, where there's a building in my backyard, and the map screen can't be seen from above ground. And all these people documented saying that these underground homes and tunnels are here. One of them was running for sheriff. I secretly recorded him, and that saying that our last sheriff, Painter, used to hide out. I figured Gary Painter was at the oil show party in 2010 when that young girl was murdered at that Angie told me about, And so, that just puts it all together. That's what they're really covering up. And then I have the woman that told me that these underground homes was put in, finished 1987, budget of $7.35 million on permit for George H.W. Bush. It was called the Safe House Project. They're 3-bedroom homes, buried at least 25 foot deep. I've got all kinds of details and information about it. That's where and then in 2013, the remains of a young girl found outside of Midland, and nobody trying to solve that murder. Why? Because she's the girl that Angie told me about, I believe, murdered in that underground home in the backyard. This Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.